I've had this wood for yonks. It's from a baby's crib from my mate Dan when his son outgrew it. And it's just some simple kind of oak slats and beech kind of I don't know, like posts, I guess you would call them, from the crib. And what I'm going to do is make a simple little shelf for some jars that I've got here for the workshop. And I'm going to explain to you why I have those jars and what they're for. So I've been wanting to make my own paints and stuff, so they're readily available, just oil paints mixed with spirits basically, and store them and keep them in here and see how long they last. I looked online, apparently they last quite a while. So there's 25 different jars. I guess we're just going to keep them like this, make 5 shelves of 5 going up. I'm not 100% sure, maybe we'll try a couple of different configurations. But the shelf won't be anything fancy. So there won't be any particularly fancy joinery in this. I just want to have a place to store these, really. But I will probably do a little bit of carving on it, just because, you know, this is a carving channel after all. We should probably do a little bit of carving, but that'll come near the end once we've figured out the design for the shelf, which will be very simple. I'm not even sure if I want to use that beech. We might just use the oak, but I'll see. So I've marked the points at where the shelves are going to go on both of these side pieces, and I figured out the height that I wanted by kind of clamping pieces of wood in there temporarily, putting the jars on there, and then reaching in like between 2 shelves to make sure that my fingers could fit in properly and I could pull the jars out easily. So that's how I worked that out. And now, just to get them the right depth, what I'm going to do is turn these pieces upside down and then use my pencil and draw a kind of straight line all the way across. They're not going to be that deep, but deep enough to take the shelves, and we're going to put dowels in from the outside anyway. Now, for the decoration, the carved part that I alluded to earlier, what I've done is I've taken a kind of Anglo-Saxon motif. I live quite near a place called Sutton Hoo. Many of you have probably heard of it, some of you may have not. It's an ancient burial site where an ancient Saxon king was buried, and he had like a helmet, a very iconic helmet that you will have seen probably, and a shield and a sword and all kinds of bits of jewelry and stuff like that. And on the shield there's a dragon emblem and a bird emblem, and so I was quite interested in the head of the bird emblem, so that's what I've used for the top of the shelf. And I've done a couple of drawings, like a rough one and a neater one, and then I made myself a little cardboard template so I can cut the right shape out on the top and then start carving it. So we're going to do all that stuff now. I don't know if I'm going to add colour to it yet. I might. I'm not sure. But I'll worry about that when we've got the whole shelf done. So now that I've got all the shelf built, and I will explain what those little notches are for in a minute. Some of you may have already gathered it, but I'll explain it in a second. I am going to try and colour this a little bit. I have all these little dies that I got from Furniture Clinic. They're like little sample packs, and the dies are nice. I quite like them, but the only problem is that I think you get like 9 dies, but they're all very like woody type dies, so you don't get any like blues or greens or yellows. Well, some are a bit yellow, but you know, it's stuff like that, any kind of different kind of colours, which is good in a way, because you know, when you dye the wood, it's still going to look like kind of like sort of natural kind of earthy colours, but at the same time I would have liked a bit of variation. But anyway, that's kind of the whole point for the shelf really, because I'm making lots of little paints to put on here, and it's the paints we're going to use to paint any kind of little project I do, but namely the medieval world kind of figures and stuff like that. If you don't know what that is, go to my last video, you'll see what it's all about. Right, so the little notches, what they're for is that when there's a jar on the shelf, I know that when I'm bashing and carving stuff around here, sometimes the walls shake. We are in a shed after all, the walls shake, things move around, and things tend to fall off shelves. So these little notches, I was going to put like a piece of wood in the front there, but then I decided, you know what, let's go a little bit more Saxon Viking age type style. So I decided to make little notches there so we can put strings across the front, which will stop the jars falling off the shelf should they shake around, and they probably will shake around. So now I'm just going to use a couple of dies to dye that stuff. I've already got a couple of bits fixed up on the wall for me to fix the shelf to. So it'll be dye, then oil, then dry it, then string on the front where the jar's going to go, then fix it to the wall, and then we'll chuck the jars in there just to see what they look like. And that'll be it. So let's dye it. I realise this isn't the best final shot of a project that I've ever done on my YouTube channel, but that's because it's a pretty small thing and it's in a very awkward location, and it's really hard to get the lighting right. I have 3 different lights around me, just trying to figure out how to show this best with all the monitors and all the other stuff in the way. So I know it's not the best final shot, but hopefully you enjoyed the video. Hopefully you enjoyed this project. I know the jars are empty. We're going to make paints for those this week. If I remember, I'll put a picture in the community tab so you guys can see how it turned out. But I probably won't make a video because it's just going to be mixing lots of different colours of oil paints. So, but I just have to decide what I want. There's 25 jars, so I've got lots of options. Even if I do a couple wrong steps, I should still have another, 23, 22 paints that are decent. So anyway, thanks for watching, guys. I hope you enjoyed it. Soon we're going to start building our little medieval world. So if you hang around, you can see how it turns out. And I'll catch you later.